Hey, what's up, fish heads? Tony Baber here. I wanted to go back and revisit a video that I'd done a little over a year ago now and talking about confidence baits. So I wanted to revisit it to create more of a short series of about 5 videos covering everything from the mental side as far as why confidence baits are important to seasonal patterns such as spawn and summer and fall, and just talking about my confidence baits as I go through the seasons and what I really try to focus on, or what I have a lot of confidence in those different situations. So we're going to start off here with the mental side of it and kind of talking about more the definition of what a confidence bait is and how they should be, or why they should be important to you guys. So let's get to it.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story.
Let me start off by saying, if this is your first time visiting my channel or one of the first times you've seen one of my videos, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you can stay on top of all the latest uploads. I've got plenty of content coming to you guys this year. Really looking forward to it and excited about it. So make sure you tune in. So let's dive into it and talk about what a confidence bait is, what the importance of them are, and what that might mean to you guys, the viewers. So for me personally, it's something that I've really kind of become attuned to. You know, you pay attention to a lot of the professional fishermen out there, and a lot of those guys just have like those niches that they really do well in, and if a tournament sets up right, they just seem to really kill it. And as I paid more attention to it and kind of realized that there's some anglers out there that have like those certain techniques or those certain things that they kind of identify with, I think a big reason for that is confidence. Because as we all know, tournament fishing and just even fishing in general, confidence is a huge deal. It can really carry you a long ways, and anytime you can find something that helps you get that little extra confidence, or something that just helps push you to that next level, you need to make sure that you're paying attention to that and that you're in tune with that. So kind of the reason that like confidence baits are so important to me is, you know, I really find myself really being in tune with what I'm doing. You know, if you're throwing something that you have a lot of confidence in and something that you just really like throwing and enjoy throwing, you really pay attention to all the little nuances, and you learn, and you kind of have figured out how to adapt that bait to really work the best possible way for you. So one of the things is, you know, I love throwing, like, there's 3 or 4 different kind of baits that are kind of my confidence go-to baits. And for each of you, there's probably a different number attached to that, right? Some of you might just have one thing that you really gravitate to. Some of you might have 5 or 6 things that you gravitate to. We all spend a lot of time trying to learn different techniques and baits, and we're all fairly confident once you've kind of been fishing them and exploring different avenues in what we're doing. But there's certain things that you find that you always have either tied on and sitting on top of your deck, or if you're going out bank fishing, there's always that 1 rod or 2 rods that you always bring with you, or the baits that are always packed with you. If you're fishing as a co-angler, you know, there's special challenges that kind of come with that, and that you can't bring 15, 20 different tackle boxes and soft plastic bags with you. You know, you have to kind of reduce the size of everything that you're carrying. And that's why confidence baits can be even more important from that aspect, because it helps you kind of eliminate some of that confusion or some of that just extra luggage, so to speak. So for me, it's something that, you know, it's extremely important for the mental side of the game, right? We all know that there's a bit of importance that's kind of placed on the mental side of fishing, because a lot of us can endure the days out on the water. We can fish for 9, 10, 12 hours, whatever it is. And that's not a problem. You know, the field's pretty even as far as that goes, but where you can really kind of separate yourself is when you're throwing something that you have a lot of confidence in. And what kind of defines a confidence bait is those baits that really you naturally gravitate to. It's something that you've caught a ton of fish on. It's something that you always really are in the back of your mind, maybe thinking about, like, I should be throwing this or maybe I should throw that. But it comes up a lot, the same baits, right? And for me, there's, like I said, there's 3 different ones specifically that I'll go over today that are just a general confidence thing for me. Now, there's different adaptations for those based on weather conditions and time of year and things like that. But for me, it's just 3 baits that I always have tied on, something that I almost probably every time I go out, I throw at least one, if not all of them, and give them really a fair shake. I would implore you to really kind of explore that for you and what that means to you. You know, what is your confidence bait? What is something that you really gravitate to that helps you be a better angler, right? What are those certain situations or those certain baits that you just can't live without, that you always have to have tied on and ready to go? So when you find yourself in those situations where maybe you're having a long day on the water, you're really not catching a lot of fish, you know, this is where the confidence bait can really play into that. Because you pick up that one bait or whatever it is, and you start throwing that bait, you notice that you're more in tune, you're paying more attention, you're really focused and locked in on what you're doing with that bait. The reason that can be so important is really you always want to maintain a high level of focus, right? You want to know exactly where that bite came, exactly how you're working that bait, what the bait was in, what you were fishing, what kind of cover, what kind of bottom, all these different situations, you know, what the weather was. You always want to remember all that stuff. And with confidence baits, I find that I'm more in tune with what is going on. I pay more attention to all those subtle little details of the bait, the water, the area that I'm fishing, what's going on that day when I'm throwing something that I have a ton of just confidence in, right? So why that's important is, you know, it helps maximize your ability on the water. So if you're having those bad days, pick up that bait that you have a lot of confidence in. Just start focusing on that bait. Start throwing that bait. And as you get into that, you'll find that you kind of gravitate towards a little bit more of a level calmness, so to speak. You're not constantly you're not constantly questioning yourself. You're not overthinking things. You're making casts and you're focusing on that bait. You're not making casts and thinking about, should I be moving somewhere else? Should I be throwing something else? Am I working this bait right? You just naturally kind of get into a flow. And what happens is mentally, it brings everything together for you. You can have a lot more success. You can have a lot more ability to really get a pattern going. It's not to say that they're guaranteed to work every time that you throw them. But one of the things is that as you throw it, it can kind of calm you down, right? It can slow things down for you. It can really get you into the moment. And maybe you can make that right adjustment if it's another bait or if it's a different color or something like that. For me, that's why it's so important. It's just because it gives you that sense of, you know, focus. And so you're really in tune with what you're doing. So I want to kind of go over 3 baits for me and kind of talk about different situations and a couple different baits, like colors or types within that different technique or style, however you want to say that. And for me, to start off with, you know, one of the things that I do a ton of is flipping, right? I think a lot of us really get into flipping and doing things like that, but you really have to think about, you know, is it something that you just love to do? Is it something that you're totally bought into, that you completely focus on? So 2 baits that I wanted to kind of talk about real quick was, one of them is the X-Zone Adrenaline Bug. This is in a really cool color that's one of their more popular ones. It's the 309 color. And for me, this is just a great flipping bait, right? And I have a ton of confidence throwing this bait because it works in so many different situations, whether it's clear water, dirtier water, if it's a bluegill spawn, if it's the bass spawn, no matter what it is, this color and this bait just have a great profile to them and really a great mix that they've worked for me in a lot of different situations. So it's something I really gravitate to. I love flipping anything from trees to even just rock piles or, you know, bluff walls, whatever it is. I find a way to adapt the flipping so that it works for me. So it's something I have a ton of confidence in. It's something that I really throw a lot and do a lot of, no matter what time of year it is, The big difference for me is kind of how I adapt those baits and the types of baits that I use and the colors based on those seasonal patterns, which we can get into that more in some of the other videos. But so you have the Adrenaline Bug for the one, and another one that I have a ton of confidence in. This is a newer bait, just came out last year by X-Zone. It's the Adrenaline Crawl, and this particular color is the Border Crawl, which is one of my favorite colors. So if there's 3 colors I had to choose from, it would be Border Crawl, the Bama Crawl, and the 309 color. Like those 3 colors, I feel like I can really apply to just about any situation, any kind of water clarity, no matter what is going on. I just have a lot of confidence in those colors and those baits. This bait in particular I really like because it's got that profile that just, you can put it in so many different situations. You know, if you're flipping really thick cover, it'll come through that cover really well. It's got like the extra action on the legs, if you can see the appendages there, to where it really captures a lot of water and gives you a lot of vibration and movement when those legs are kind of kicking for you. So again, it's just a confidence thing for me. I love having that extra action on there. I love the profile of the bait. And anytime I pick one up, I just feel like at any moment I can get a bite on that particular bait. So moving on to the next thing, because I'm a huge power fisherman, right? Like I love to just chuck and wind, going down the bank, covering a lot of water, and really getting the most opportunities to get my bait in front of a good fish, or just any fish for that matter on some days, if I'm just fun fishing. You know, I just love to catch fish. I don't really care as much about size. I just want to catch some fish. So 2 things that are really kind of big for me as far as colors and styles is, one of them is going to be the Coleslaw color, and this is a Cumberland Pro Lures Hydrospin spinnerbait, and it's got the painted blades on it. But I love this color combination and this blade combination in muddy water, right? It's got a lot of contrast. It really is visible to the fish. It's something I've caught a ton of fish on, and even in clear water situations. Like for me, Coleslaw, white and chartreuse are just 2 tried and true pure colors that I love to throw no matter what the situation is. So, you know, for me, it's you know, the spinnerbait is for me one of the probably biggest confidence baits for me. I throw them all the time. You can ask anybody that's ever fished with me. If you've ever watched any of my videos, some of my tournament stuff, you probably see me throw a spinnerbait at least once or twice, whether it's practice or tournament day, whatever it is. I've always thrown a spinnerbait because it applies to so many different situations. They're so diverse based on all the blade combinations, color combinations, head weights. I mean, there's so much you can do with them, and they have so much diversity in application in different situations. That's part of the reason why I have so much confidence in it, because I know I can apply it to so many different things, and I've caught so many fish fishing with them. Another bait is another Cumberland Pro Hydrospin, and that is a Colorado Indiana blade, or I'm sorry, Colorado Willow blade combination. And this is in a ghost shad color. It's got a really great color there. Just fantastic for clear water situations, right? I mean, that's where it really shines, you know, because it looks so natural and it comes through the water so well, and it has such great action to it. And that Colorado on there just gives it a little extra thump, kind of attracts those fish in, kind of gives them an idea of, you know, it's a bigger shad, it's bigger meal for them. And that's really what makes the difference, right? Like when you get into them summertime, warm weather situations, you know, sometimes them double willows are the way to go. But I think in that colder water, earlier summer, spring, or even in the fall, that Colorado willow combination is just dynamite. You know, it can bring so many and call so many fish to you because of how it vibrates and just creates that extra thump. So that's 2 of the baits for me. I mean, there's, like I said, there's a whole bunch of different combinations and different ways that you can fish with a spinnerbait, but those 2 there are probably the ones that I have tied on 80% of the time if I have a spinnerbait and I'm going to be using it. So the last one that I want to kind of cover with you guys is a square bill. So this is another one where there's a ton of different answers and right ways to do it and colors and things like that. But for me, this right here, it's a 1.5 by Strike King in the natural shad color. This specific color is probably by far my favorite color and my favorite bait, even that size. It's something that I can throw in muddy water, clear water, no matter what is going on. And I find a way for it to kind of be applicable to what I'm fishing. For muddy water situations, honestly, that's my go-to bait. A lot of guys like throwing that black and chartreuse, but for me, in my experiences on like the Highland reservoirs and stuff, because the water is not like mud puddle, 2 inches of visibility typically, but you do get some color in there, that bait shines for me no matter what the situation goes. Now, if you get into more of that clear water situation, you can't go wrong with something natural like a green gizzard shad. Again, these are all 1.5 square bills. It's my favorite, and I know there's a ton of people out there that love throwing it. It's one of the best baits out there. Ton of fans of it. A lot of people love throwing them. But I like the green gizzard because it's one of those diverse baits. It covers those clear water situations, cloudy, bluebird skies, whatever it is. It's a great diverse bait, and the lakes that I fish have a lot of green gizzard in them, so it really applies to the forage, right? Match the hatch. That's what it's all about. And the last thing that I really like throwing as far as square bills, and this is for that super gen clear water, when you get in on those bluebird skies and all that, is this crystal shad. And it's that translucent color with that sexy shad kind of overtone to it. So it's got that real natural look. I mean, you get that light kind of coming through it, so it really gives the fish, like, it really disguises itself well for fish in clear water. Makes it a lot better for attracting those bites and getting those hard to get bites on those clear blue skies, those days where it's just really tough, right? So that's kind of the 3 big ones for me as far as square bills go. I mean, I do throw black and chartreuse. I have a bunch of different color combinations that I will throw. But for me, it's just, these are the 3 that really shine day in and day out, and I throw them so much. So that kind of covers what I wanted to go over for this first video. Mostly just talking about how confidence really can hopefully help you guys. Really take some time to kind of figure out what it is for you that is a confidence bait, what it is for you that you gravitate to, that you always have tied on, and pay attention to it. Really identify what those baits are for you, what that means to you as far as what a confidence bait is, and really, next time you're out fishing, if you're having a bad day, or even if you're having a really good day, stop and think about how that confidence bait can help you, and really dive into understanding what your baits are and your baits of choice are. I think you'll find that it makes a huge difference in just your overall success, as well as making a big difference in how things work out for you while you're out there on the water. As you learn more techniques and you get better and better with different techniques, your confidence baits might change over time, and that's perfectly okay. It makes perfect sense. For me, this is just kind of where I've settled in over the past 7-8 years of really bass fishing and tournament fishing, especially. As much time as I spend on the water with those high pressure situations, I like having something that I know I can fall back on and really just kind of dig in and grind if I need to. And more often than not, it does help me out, and it does kind of help me calm my mind and really focus in on what I'm doing, and it can make a difference in your overall day and your success. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Keep your eye out. I'll be putting out a spawn video here soon. I'm going to try to get down to the lake and do a little pre-fishing for one of the tournaments coming up in a few weeks. Well, just about a month away, actually. I'm going to try to get down there here in a couple weeks, and then I'll try to shoot that second video for you guys. So keep your eye out for that. I look forward to reading your comments and hearing your feedback. Hopefully this gives you guys something to think about. If there's anything else you'd like me to cover, if you got any questions, feel free to drop a comment in there. I will respond as quick as I can. Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck and good fishing.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless.